First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Bashem Warakah Kwadash, and double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone that have taught me this truth through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And I have to say, including the elder bishops on down, I forgot to say that right along with the elder apostles. And overall to the elect, Shalom to the elect of the 144,000, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Barakatham. And to those that do follow, whom is the 1/3, and it's your brother Laban. So now what I want to do is I want to get into this and bringing this back to memory that Trump plans on bringing back. As this title of this reads, Trump plans to bring back firing squads, group executions if he retakes White House. The former president wants to expand the use of death penalty and expand the federal government's option for carrying out death sentences. And someone would have to do it, because it's written that the prophets in this case, which is what the scriptures is focusing on, would have to go through this. Yes, we're talking about the book of Revelations here, the 20th chapter, and I believe it's the first verse. All right, and it won't allow me to read furthermore because I'm not subscribed to this, but I remember speaking about this some time ago, and I just want to talk about this again, just on a brief anyway. And what I want to do is I want to tie this into when the Apostle Paul was about to be beheaded. And Apostle Paul, as it came out, he was beheaded in the time of 64 AD, which they now newly call it CE, which stands for Christian era. And at this time, as this reads over here, of the execution of Christians ordered by the Roman Emperor Nero following the Great Fire in the city in 64. Right, so the Apostle Paul, he was probably a part of that psyop that took place at that time. Nero ordered the city to be under some kind of terror, and he was a part of being executed, probably among many of those that were considered the Christians at the time, right? Which they were the real Christians, because to be a Christian, for one, you would have to follow the anointed one, and you had to have been anointed to follow the anointed, if you know what I'm saying, right? And the only people that could be Christians are Israelites. Hence you get the term. The term Christian originates back to the word Christos, which means anointed. Now, what other nation were anointed priests? There was only but one nation that was anointed as a priest, that they were doing this, and that was of the nation of Israel. No other nation of people were doing this besides the nation of Israel. That whole idea of being anointed came from the nation of Israel, and it happened among Israelite men. No other nation. So realistically, the only people that can be coined as Christians are Israelites. Just to make that quite clear. So yeah, Nero, I think he ruled from, 54, they say CE, to 68 CE. So within that time, the Apostle Paul was preaching, and he was beheaded under Nero's time. All right, so he was 4 years about, he had 4 more years left, basically. So when we go back over here in this article and we look at DJ Trump here, as well as the elder apostles have said, primarily Apostle Har, that he believes that he's Nero in the reincarnation. Well, it looks like it is so, because he wants to bring that back. All right, and under Nero's time, that's what was being had. People were being beheaded for crimes that they probably didn't commit, where it regards the building that was on fire. You see, so yeah, man, I mean, it could very well be him in the reincarnation, and somebody would have to fulfill that part of prophecy of beheading people. Nero did it before, so it would have to be him in the reincarnation to do it again, to play that part. So now let's read this over here. This is what the Apostle Paul was speaking on, telling, writing letters to those that were following him, the other apostles. 2 Timothy 4 verse 6, for I am now ready to be offered, and the time of my departure is at hand. I have fought the good fight, and I have finished my course, and I have kept the faith. Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all of them that have loved his appearing. So, Lord willing, we continue to believe even unto death. And we have these same words in mind, or similar, because we are in a course. We came in this truth, and whether we realize it or not, when we came into this thing, that was the minute an oath was sworn, and that we must keep this oath. And basically, pretty much, it was blood in and it's blood out. Because remember, we was bought with a price. The Messiah died for the sake of our sins, so that we can be registered as those that are possibly going to be saved. All right. And if we decide to come out of this thing, guess what? There's blood out too. You're going to be destroyed. If you take that mark, you've already denounced the faith from that point. And that's when you're going to get the nukes right upon your ass. And let's just say, way before the mark came and you just turned your back on the plow, again, you're just going to be destroyed. All right. So what we want to do is we want to be found finishing our course. As the scripture says, he that endureth to the end, same shall be saved. So now let me move forward and let's go into something else here. Yeah. So this is what I have concerning Nero, right? Nero's summary, as this reads, in full, Nero, Claudius, Caesar, Augustus, Drusus, Germanicus. Let's just get to the point. He has all these various names. They have here, born on December the 15th, 37 AD. Antium Latium died on June the 9th of 68 of Rome. Roman Emperor 54 to 68. He was adopted by Claudius when the emperor, even from that picture over there, he does look a bit like Donald J. Trump, a young Donald J. Trump. So that could definitely be him in a reincarnation, man. But yeah, I just want to just show you that from the time when he came in, from 54 to 68 AD, and so within around this time period, around 64 AD, as I can quite remember now, the Apostle Paul was beheaded under his tenure. So yeah, it would have to take this individual. So that means that DJ Trump would come in, and something would have to give when he comes in. It could be in a matter of in the beginning of time when he does come in office. It's just like when Son Bush came in 2001, when he was inaugurated in 2001. 8 months later, you had the 9/11 attacks, and guess what happened? That's when the war on terror started from that point. And they went to these areas between the early 2000s. Primarily the year 2003. It was 2 years? I think it was like a year and a half later. Yeah, it was a year and a half later. They went to Baghdad and started messing around with those people and destroyed all of those places. Okay, and then they had to go get Saddam Hussein and put him to death. And the real reason why they put him to death, because he wasn't trading his goods with the petrodollar. He didn't want to trade with the petrodollar, so they put his ass to death because of that right there. All right. So just imagine when another psyop comes greater than the one which happened before, or psyops. Let me just say it plurally. Psyops that happened before. What do you think this man's going to do? He's going to do exactly what Nero did, because highly likely he is Nero in a reincarnation. All right. And that's going to be his excuse to pull this all off. So let's move forward now. So what I want to do is I want to play this video, and I want to elaborate on this video just a little bit, because in this video, he declares now that he wants to bring the USA Bible back to America. And really what he's talking about is he wants to bring this Judaic American version of Christianity back to the forefront. And that would then be the standard of religion of America that they used to have back in the day. So he wants to resurrect that spirit of American Christianity once again. And to join with that, the Noahide laws. You have a thing which is called the Noahide laws, which I'm going to get into that later on. And if he's so much about the Bible, why is it that he has a sodomite in his cabinet? So, you know that these people, they're not about no Bible. They don't believe in the Bible. They believe in the Bible to an extent because they have to. If you're in that brotherhood, you have to know both sides. They deal with a thing called duality. So you can't just believe in that there's one entity. You have to believe that there's both entities at the same time. Just like us in this truth, we believe that there's the higher power, but we also believe that there's another entity which is against the nature of the higher power, and that's the spiritual demon Satan. And they believe that there is a God, but their goal is to not believe in him per se, but to believe in Satan, which Satan is a lesser power or an angelic force under the Most High. All you got to do is read the story of Job, and the book of Job will tell you from the first chapter to the second chapter, the first couple of verses, it actually shows you that the Most High is in charge of Satan. He's one of the sons of God, and he tells Satan what to do, right? So that would then show that the highest power above all angelic forces or angels, let me just use that instead, is the Most High. So technically, righteousness overrules all. All right, just because we don't see righteousness physically happening or existing in this planet Earth right now, it doesn't mean that righteous force does not rule. All right, and the Most High could do whatever the hell he wants to do. And what the Lord is showing us is a world of iniquity, so that when we get to a world of righteousness, we can appreciate it much more. The words of High Priest Sqauds, one of our old elders, which go all the way back. All right. So now let's play a little bit of this video, and we're gonna speak on more things.
Who doesn't love his song, God Bless the USA, in connection with promoting the God Bless the USA Bible? This Bible is the King James Version and also includes our founding father documents. Yes, the Constitution, which I'm fighting for every single day, very hard, to keep Americans protected. Also, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance are all part of this God Bless the USA Bible. And it's just very important and very important to me. I want to have a lot of people have it. You have to have it for your heart, for your soul. Many of you have never read them and don't know the liberties and rights you have as Americans and how you are being threatened to lose those rights. It's happening all the time. It's a very sad thing that's going on in our country, but we're going to get it turned around. Religion and Christianity are the biggest things missing from this country.
And then, I mean, if DJ Trump truly believes in the Bible, he wouldn't have a fruitcake in his cabinet. And number two, he would have to initiate the law that's written in the Bible, where it concerns fruitcakes and other things he would have to take care of. Adultery would have to be taken care of as well. So we know for certain that's not going to happen. All right. But he's going to use the Bible as a way, again, to create this facade that he's for this Judaic Americanized Christianity. And that's basically going to what? Get the simple minds of those that claim to believe in the Bible, in the belief of Cesare Borgia. Okay. So he's appeasing to these people. The minute he gets up in there, it's going to be a different ballgame. Happens all the time, man. These politicians, they do speak a good game. They present themselves very well than they did before when they get up in there, and it's a different ball game the minute they get to sit on their ass in the White House. All right. So there you go, man. What is it? As this reads over here, this is Sirach. Yeah, Sirach 12 and verse 10, man. This reads, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, his soul is his wickedness." So if you don't believe, so it's gonna come down to this. If he gets in office, if you don't believe in the American way, then off with your head. It's just like he did during the time when he was Nero, man. And this is what we believe. We do believe that he is Nero, the reincarnation. And he's looking damn sure like him too. All right. Now, if there's something that happens on a great scale, a psychological operation that happens, and you tend to be on the wrong side of the fence of that, you're going to suffer those consequences, man, of being on the wrong side of the fence as they're going to deem you to be. If you're against American values or the Western values of the world, then pretty much you're going to wind up being in the camp somewhere. All right. So those horns are definitely going to show. Right now, he's showing you that he's for the American people and he's for American values and Christianity and the likes, which, by the way, America didn't start by Christianity. America got it stopped by witchcraft and sorcery. All of those founding fathers that most Americans look up to, these guys were a bunch of Masons, man. That's what the hell they were. So America didn't get started on Christian values. It got started on Satan's values. So I'm going to just leave it at that. So now, let's go back over here. Verse 11, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass. And thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away, meaning his wickedness. So his wickedness is always going to be there. No matter how presentable he tries to make himself look, or they as a collective, as a people, they're always going to do what their soul is meant to do. Jeremiah 17 and verse 5. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, cursed be that man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arms, whose heart departed from the Lord. And you have a lot of our people that believe in the political system. And so therefore, by that, they're not going to see when good cometh at all. They're going to see when ill time comes, and they're going to be taken by those same things, which the ill times is going to bring upon their asses. All right. And is well deserving as such. Or should I say so? For he shall be like the heath in the desert, and shall not see when good cometh, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, and the salt on the land, and not be inhabited. And so what's going to happen is they're going to take that mark because they trust in this man, and they're going to go back to the earth which they came. That's all I got to say about that. Let's move forward even. So this is the Noahide laws, which, as this reads, this is the joint resolution. And I was speaking about this earlier before, but I want to tie this in because with the Noahide laws, they're going to be able to substantiate with the idea of using the guillotines. And the 7 Noahide laws goes back to these JOO wishes that came up with this. So what they want to do is they want to put this into law when that time comes. And what's also going to substantiate the Noahide laws is the what's it called? It's called HB something. HB 1274, I believe it is. HB 1274, which stands for House Bill, which goes into the whole guillotine thing, and that was going for 2 years. That was going on to talk about bringing the guillotines back and all of that, right? And the laws that they can have to justify using that. And I believe it was through 1995 to 1996. But I'm going to get into all of that though. I'm going to get into all of that. So let's read this. Whereas Congress recognizes, and this was done in 91. Shit, I wasn't even born yet, man. Few months and I was going to be born. The historical traditions of ethical values and principles, which are the base of civilized societies, and upon which our great nation was founded. And whereas these ethical values and principles have been the bedrock of society from the dawn of civilization, when they were known as the 7 Noahide laws, whereas without these ethical values and principles, the edifice of civilization stand in serious peril of returning to chaos. Whereas society is profoundly concerned with the recent weakening of these principles that has resulted in crises that beleaguer and threaten the fabric of civilized society. Whereas the justified preoccupation with these crises must not let the citizens of this nation lose sight of their responsibility to transmit these historical ethical values from our distinguished past to the generation of the future. So if you break in this time, because which the Noahide laws they have here, the Noahide laws are a set of 7 biblical laws that are considered to be universal moral duties for all people. And these are laws that they don't even keep themselves. All right? Do not worship idols. Do not curse the Most High. Do not commit murder. This happens on a regular. This happens on a regular. This happens on a regular. Do not steal. Oh, that happens in a big way. Do not eat flesh torn from a living animal. You probably got some couple of jackasses or more that's doing that already, establishing the court of justice. Okay? So what is going to be about when they really bring this new world order in, when they say worship, do not worship idols and do not curse the Most High, really what they're going to be referring to is themselves that rule the system. Okay? And it's going to get to the point, if you don't worship the beast and his image, in other words, the new world order system. What is the beast, by the way? The beast is referring to this revived version of Rome. So if you don't agree, it's just like I said earlier before, if you don't agree to the American way or the Western way of doing things, then you are going to be in the concentration camp. And in that concentration camp, they're going to be able to take your head off. And it's just going to be a quick way of putting you out of your misery. All right? And I was watching the Elder Apostle Gabar's video, and he was speaking about the vision that the brother Kazak Allah, if I'm pronouncing that brother's name correctly, shout out to that brother, Yahweh Shemel Shad Brakatah. He was speaking on the vision that he had 4 years ago about him being in the concentration camp, and he heard people screaming and in pain because they were being tortured and stuff like that. And that was the spirit, because I don't know how long that video was done. I don't know when that video was being uploaded, but while that video was probably being uploaded, I was setting up this lesson to do and speaking about this over here. So that's definitely the spirit. So we know the Most High is letting it be known, man, through the spirit, that this guy's definitely going to be the one to bring in that hour and that time of Jacob's trouble, and as well as the world of, the temptation which will try the world, which is forth to come. That's definitely going to be on the verge. Okay. So, so what I want to do is I want to go here, and we're going to go into this over here a little bit some more. The Noahide laws are derived from divine demand and addressed to Adam and Noah, the progenitors of all mankind. They are considered to be the binding on all people and are of the source of other laws, which they don't believe in biblical law. Okay. Now, I will say this. Now, the courts of society of the West, they do get their laws, their judicial laws, from the Bible. And that's as far as it goes. But it doesn't mean that they believe in the Bible. All right. The UK was once, or I think it is still considered, a Christian-based country. But the way people live in the country is not biblical based. Same thing with America. America is supposed to be known as this Judaic Christian based nation, but they don't live like how the true Christians lived. All right. It's just a title to say that, look, we do carry Christian values, but they actually don't. It's just a title that makes them look good. So the time is going to come, man, if you don't acknowledge the system as they would like you to acknowledge it, then it's just going to be off with your head. And if you don't continue on with this truth and taking the mark, you're going to be put to death by those missiles. So it's best to die with honor and dying knowing that you kept the ways of the Lord. All right? That's the way you want to die. Revelations 13 and 15 now. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, which is the system, and the image of it is the New World Order system, and that the image of the beast should both speak and cause it as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And it's just like, for example, these politicians that don't play ball, what happens to them? They get capped. So that pressures on these politicians, and if they, and you know, one thing, and I'll say it properly. Let me say it this way: if you don't play ball, they got dirt on you from what you've done before, right? And then if that doesn't take you, they can rub your name through the mud and make you say that you going crazy and you about to commit suicide, which in fact what that really means is they're about to take your ass out, and they gonna call it as such, or a suicide, all right? Because you didn't play ball. And that's what happens with these celebrities, and especially these prime ministers and stuff. All right. So that same pressure is going to be placed upon the people. If people don't want to subscribe to taking that, that implantable device, and they don't want to agree with the New World Order system, again, it's going to be death, straight up and down. They're not going to have the time. The scripture says that the devil shall come down having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. So the way that they're going to put people to death is in a quick sense. You're going to have people that's going to be tortured, of course, but they're going to do that for a reason, to see if they can reprogram you to be acceptable to the New World Order. All right. And if they can't get you by torturing you, then I guess you ain't no good for the system, man. You're going to be taken out. But there's going to be people that they're going to know that they're just going to take out straight away. All right. And that's definitely the prophets. That's definitely us. We're definitely sided for death, man, where it concerns these elites. And that's all right. That's all right, because we're going to die for the right reasons, and we're going to receive our reward greatly. Revelations 13 and 16, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell, say that he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, and then you have it. So this is going to be the ultimate test of mankind, the Israelites just in general. All right, this is what's going to try the world when that implantable device is going to be made mandatory. The mark of the you know what. Okay. And it's just going to get real. It's not going to be how it is right now when we just talking about it. No, this is actually going to be a real life scenario. And this time it's definitely going to, as the saying goes, separate the men from the boys, so to speak. Those that were really, really about it, and those that were just basically bullshitting all this time. So anyway, let's move somewhere else. Again, Donald Trump, America's first JOO president. On policy, there is no question that Donald Trump is the most pro-Israel, pro-JOO candidate to ever run for the U.S. presidency, and this year's Republican Party platform is the most pro-Israel political platform in the history of the U.S. on either side of the political aisle. That is why when the JOO-ish and pro-Israel voted learned about Donald Trump's policies, they supported Donald Trump. So that's all I'm going to read right there. And the reason why I wanted to pull this out, because, again, when you talk about the Noahide laws, who brought the idea of the Noahide laws to the forefront? It was those JOO-ishes. So it would make sense for him to officialize the Noahide laws, put them into law, and that would then basically coincide with the guillotine. So if you disagree, if you don't worship their God, so to speak, and you become an idol worshiper, like case in point, if you worship another God outside of their God, they could say, look, let's get this guy beheaded. Let's put this nigga to death. All right. Or let's put this woman to death because she don't believe. She's headstrong in her belief. Right. So again, I say this is a so-called JOO thing that they brought to the forefront. All right. And it's going to take an Amalekite such as DJ Trump to officialize this. And that's why I read a little bit of this just to convey that point. And even Mark Levine even said it out loud that he's the first JOO-ish to be the president of the United States, and he just laughed. And I'm talking about DJ Trump. He just laughed at the guy. He didn't say anything else about that. Here's the video over here. They go Mark Levine right there.
It's an honor to be here with the first Jewish president of the United States.
And that's all there is to it, man. And then he mentions, oh, you know, if he isn't or he isn't. He's an insider, man. All of these people are insiders. They know what it is. They know that he's one of them, right? That's why he's a pro advocate for Israel. So much so, he even said, if you speak about Israel, there's going to be consequences. And this was when I think he was on the process of being the president at that time. I think it was around 2019 or something like that, if I'm correct. Not 2019. What am I talking about? 2017 it was. 16. It was 2016 because by 2017 he was already in. Yeah, so yeah, this is another thing that I want to also show you, brothers and sisters, as well. 2 years prior, he converted to Judaism over here. So let me play this video. Let me back this up a little bit.
Donald Trump converted to Judaism 2 years ago and joined Chabad Lubavitch Synagogue in New York City, according to a high-level White House official. Mr. Goldberg says the story has allegedly been held by CNN's editors for months, but is due to be released within the next few days.
Yeah, so this must have probably been maybe 2015 or something like that. Something to that equivalent, where he got converted to Judaism, as you know, they've put it here. And Brunella C found out, I guess, through information, as this reads, member of the most powerful Masonic lodge in the world, Chabad Lubavitch. So, I mean, if that's really the case, then he's definitely a so-called JOO-ish, which, you know, they run everything. They run the politics. They run the media. They run over everything of society through BlackRock. All right. Now, they have a guy that they've announced, that they've declared, that runs it, which his name is Larry Fink, which Larry Fink could just be a face guy that runs BlackRock, so-called. But there's someone powerful than him that we don't know about. And it's usually the men that we don't see or know about. That's usually the main ones over entities like BlackRock and Vanguard that run it. And you already know, you don't listen. It's not hard to guess if it's a JOO or not. You know it's a JOO. Okay? So now, yeah, I want to talk about this as well, because this ties into what I was speaking about earlier before. Yeah, so this is from the Common Sense Show from this guy, Dave Hodges, man. That's my guy. He went off of YouTube and he's on Rumble now. Anyway, FEMA's billing code for death by guillotines is ICD-9E978. And also what I forgot to bring here was what I was speaking about as well. Not actually the official site that I want to go into. I do remember looking at this over here, which they have it from this site over here from Strip, which this is a printing site. So yeah, in here it mentions the Georgia House of Representatives from 95 to the 1996 sessions. And over here it talks about the various acts under House Bill 1274. Yeah, so as this reads here, to amend Article 2 of Chapter 10 of Title 17 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated in relating to the death penalty, generally so as to provide a statement of legislative policy let me say it correctly, legislative policy to provide for death by guillotine, to provide for the applicability to repeal conflicting laws and for other purposes, be it enacted by the General Assembly of Georgia. The General Assembly finds that while prisoners condemned to death may wish to donate one or more of their organs for the transplant, any such desires is thwarted by the fact that the electrocution makes all such organs unsuitable for transplant. The intent of the General Assembly enacting this legislation is to provide for a method of execution, which is compatible with the donation of organs by a condemned prisoner. Yeah, so that's pretty much it right there under Section 1. Yeah, so I mean, it makes a lot of sense why they would want to take your head off instead, because they want your organs too, right? And the thing about the organ business, who runs that? Again, the same people, the JOOishes, they run that as well, right? And you can make bank off of harvesting organs, okay? And there's so much more they can do with your organs too, all right? So they figure, well, there's a cleaner way to put you to death rather than electrocuting you or inserting poison into you, because they want to use your body parts afterwards as well. All right, so yeah, all of this is going to substantiate the Noahide laws, which if you violate in that time, and they're going to use all of this. I mean, all of this hasn't been written to just not be put to use. All of these public laws and legislations that have been spoken about in secret in these years, like I said, they're going to put it to practice. All right. All of this ain't going out without void. This is all going to be put into practice. And of course, it's just Bible prophecy, man. That's the ultimate thing. All right. So, yeah, man. So what I want to do is I want to move forward, and we're going to read this over here, Revelation chapter 2. And, well, you know what? Let me do this. Let me go back over here because I forgot to read some more on this, right? And so as this reads, yeah, in a previous radio interview with Steve Quell, I don't know if he's still doing interviews today. Might very well still be doing interviews. But this is what he said. He said two very disturbing things. The first was how very close the deep state is to totally taking over. And second, that his research from years ago discovered that FEMA camps would become beheading facilities. Oh boy. I have since been told, and I have been able to confirm, FEMA's billing code for death by guillotine is ICD-9 E978. This would be FEMA, as in FEMA camp, with renewed interest being shown by the public in FEMA camps because of the Brownsville converted Walmart into a FEMA camp. Y'all remember that? And this is a good time to bring this information out on the public. Was Steve and a multitude of the others correct? The publisher of the following videos believe that Steve's statement is true. Right, and you already know they've taken this down. This is an old video. This was probably information that they've uploaded the years. Yeah, this was 2018 and stuff like that. But I guarantee that this video here goes back years prior. I remember during the early, excuse me, let me slow down. The early 2010s, a lot of this information was coming out. And of course, the elder apostles was bringing this information out as well to boot. All right. So yeah, man. But the information is still out there. All you got to do is go on Rumble and places like that, and you'll see a whole lot of that stuff, man. All right. Yeah. So I've read what I had to read on this right here. How they planned on using these camps for the purpose of putting you to death, and that's why years ago, Alex Jones, he went around this area and he saw a whole lot of black containers stacked up, which is to say that of course, they planned on killing a lot of people, man. Again, this is Revelations 12:12, which should come to mind, man. Revelations 12:12, for the devil shall come down having great wrath. So what do you think Esau's going to do with that great wrath, man? Come on, he's going to put a lot of people to death. The powers that be, they plan on putting a lot of people to rest. Let me just say it that way. Okay? Without getting my my video taken down and getting a strike on my channel. I know it's a bit immature to speak cold and not tell it like it is, but you know, this is what you got to do on YouTube, man, nowadays. All right. But yeah, ultimately, this is Bible prophecy, man. And there's nothing really to be afraid of at all. I mean, if you're in Yahweh Shai, the Lord is going to give you what you can go through, man. And you have to believe. And if you don't believe, then you're gonna die in the worst way. Let's just put it that way. But the elect, they're going to be all right. They're going to be taken care of, man. Somehow, some way, the Most High is going to make them go through things that they can go through, and they'll overcome what it is that they can overcome. All right? Because it's already written that the righteous shall overcome. All right? Them that are in Yahweh Shai, as well as Yahweh Shai did, he overcame the spiritual demon Shaitan, right? So, us being in him, we could do the same thing. All right? But what we're going to have to go through is some evil times before we can get to experience the ultimate good times, which will be had in the kingdom. So as this reads here, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days, and be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So there you go. So we're going to be tried. Revelations 20 and verse 4. And I saw the thrones and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh Shai, and for the word of the Most High, and which had not worshipped the beast. See? In other words, this system, neither his image, in other words, their newly formed one world order system, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with the anointed 1,000 years. So there you go. All right. So if you don't agree with the system by taking that mark, because see, when you take that mark, that's going to confirm that you're all the way down for the system. You would have already had confirmed that the God of this world is your God. And so with that being the case, you're going to agree to the powers that be on everything. And you're not going to have a choice, because with this implantable device, they'll be able to control every aspect of your life. So that's all I got to say for this, man. I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shah, Bashim Ar-Rakak Wadash, and double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone that have taught us this truth, and including the elder bishops on down, and Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shah Brakatham as well. And before I end this, I want to just say this as well. It's going to be put to you as a choice. They're not going to force the mark down your throat. If they have to force you to take the implant, and that means they're going to just take you out. All right? They're going to proceed to want to take you out, if that's the way you got to go out. But if not, then that can't happen. And overall, like I said, the elect ain't got nothing to worry about. We just know that we're going to have to go through the great evils to get on the other side. That's all it is. So with that, I sing Shalom.